Good morning, everyone. So, this morning we're going to be taking a look at Grixis Delver. So, for those of you that are newer to Modern, this was probably one of the building blocks that led to the creation of Grixis Shadow. They have a similar yet different game plan, whereas Grixis Shadow relies on hand disruption to disrupt the opponent into big fatty threats. This deck's trying to take a little bit of a different thing by dropping Delver of Secrets on turn 1 and protecting things with Mana Leak, Remand, and Spell Pierce. So this deck's a little bit different than what Death Shadow is trying to do. You're not as aggressive with losing your life total because you're not trying to get Death Shadow into play. And it has a little more reach because it plays more copies of cards like Lightning Bolt. Those are the main differences between the two, but they're playing a lot of the same core. You got your Snapcasters, your Culligan's Commands, your Delve Threats, Serum Visions, Thought Scour. This deck plays Young Pyromancer in the main, as opposed to Death Shadow has been recently doing that in the sideboard. But a lot of the same things. You've got Fatal Pushes, you've got Terminates. So they're similar but different, whereas Delver is more of a tempo deck, try to get a threat down, disrupt your opponent until they kill him. Death Shadow, you disrupt them first, then ride your fatty and hope you're stubborn to denial your way to victory. Beyond that, like I said, this deck is not quite as emphasizing on life loss. So you have a few more basics. You have another basic island in the deck. You still have a high fetch land count that is mainly to fuel the Delve threats. The 2 Gurmag Anglers, 2 Tassigers, and then the 1 of Murderous Cut. So you do still have some reliance upon the graveyard, and with Snapcaster Mage, you're still very much a Snapcaster deck. However, you're not quite as driving your life total low, so there's a little less of a balance with what you're trying to do. So this list is largely inspired by fellow streamer for Tweezy, who's been picking up Delver again. It's one of his pet decks in Modern. He's been doing, I think, fairly decently with the deck, so I figured we'd give it a spin. Made a few changes from his list based on some older lists from Caleb Durward and Kevin Jones. I opted for 2 ops, 4 Serum Visions, 4 Thought Scour. This op slot used to be Gitaxian Probe before it was banned. And then Tweezy was running 2 Tassiger, 1 Angler, 1 Murderous Cut. I don't know if we're taxing the graveyard too much, but I wanted to get another Del Fatty in here to be able to close out the game. And beyond that, I'm pretty sure this main deck, and I think I had 1 more fetch land over. I think he had a second Spire Bluff Canal. Sideboard, I opted for a little bit of a different approach. He went with a Blood Moon plan. I just decided that big mana decks are awful anyway, so I'm not going to try to fight them in that regard. Ceremonious Rejections for Eldrazi Tron, Affinity, and Lantern Control. Dispel when you're facing a bunch of instant spells like other control decks, or Burn. Fatal Push when matchups where that's good. Dismember for another kill spell against bigger creatures. Nihil Spell Bombs for other decks that are relying on their graveyards. Collective Brutality for primarily Burn, but could also come in against control. Counter Squall for things where Negate would be good. Desolate Lighthouse and Painful Truce for grindier matchups. By Force for more artifact decks like aforementioned Affinity and Lantern Control. And Izzet Statcaster for smaller creature decks. So that being said, play some Grixis Delver this morning. So, I'll be frank, not sure if this deck is any good. I played it probably a little over a year ago when Gitaxian Probe was still legal, so it's been a little bit since I've picked up this deck, but hopefully it'll be alright. So, opening hands, generally speaking, we're looking for like 2 lands, a cantrip, a threat, and then some interaction. That's like the ideal Delver draw. Like usually you want your threat to be like a turn 2 or turn 3 Tassiger or a Delver of Secrets that you can protect. Stuff like that are pretty decent hands for this deck. I mean, we're not going to throw back like a couple cantrips and some lands and spells usually, but like this deck frequently has one-landers that you have to weigh whether they're keepable. So, not unlike Death Shadow, but Death Shadow has a slightly different way of approaching that with like Street Wraith and such. And we'll be on the play. Seems like a good place to be. We're up against King Fries. So this is one of those hands we were talking about. We'll keep this because we've got the 2 cantrips and the Delver. With this hand, it looks like we're going to fetch up Watery Grave, even though Steam Vents is the normal. Or should we just fetch Steam Vents here and hope to find... Might be just Steam Vents, because that way we can Delver and cantrip off of this and then use our removal spells. Okay, opponent's going to 6. Alright, we'll go ahead and lead on Steam Vents here. Grab ye old Steam Vents. Play out the Delverino. Delver and pass. Opponent leads on Wooded Foothills. So that could be Burn, could be Ponza, could be Valakut. Guess we'll find out. Looks like Valakut. Yep. Valakut's not the best of matchups. Terminate, sure. We'll reveal Terminate. So, go and attack with Delver. Play our Serum Visions here. Spell Pierce, Spell Pierce. So those are both great cards, but we really need to find another land. Like, Spell Pierce might be relevant, but it's kind of hard to just hold up 1 mana the rest of the game and not have a second land. So, this is where Fortweezy's Blood Moon plan would have been more effective. So, we have couple brutalities and a couple of counter skulls to bring in pretty much. So ideally we would have loved to have gone like second Delver, land drop, and then next turn hold up Remand. But as it is, if we happen to draw a second land, we're going to have a little bit of a decision on our hands. Opponent is taking forever for a deck that doesn't have a lot of decisions to it. Might be relevant if this ends up going like 3 games or something. I mean, we're not packing Force of Will over here, buddy. Your spells are gonna resolve. Alright, gets a basic mountain. Another remand. So my choices are here either to play just flat out play Delver, or to play Thought Scour, hope to hit a land and play Delver. I think I'm going to take the greedier line and try to Thought Scour or find a land. Well, actually, it's possible I should Thought Scour. No, just myself. No sense in. So we mill our Watery Grave and then draw Delver. Seems about right. Valakut. We draw a Snapcaster Mage. Play another Delver. Well, it's got like Primeval Titan or something here. Sure. Presuming they'll just kill our creatures here, and if they do, then we go. Yep. It's enough to get the scoop here. So if they didn't kill us there was an outside chance we could flip Delver with... Okay, we were just drawing Gurmag Angler anyway. There's an outside chance we could have, like, flipped Delver off a Lightning Bolt and killed them that turn. Alright, so these Fatal Pushes are kind of garbage. Start with what cards I actually want. Brutality is probably Counter Squalls. So I have to cut 2 cards. Spell Pierce seems fine in the early game. Beyond that, maybe shave like a Kolaghan's Command and maybe it's just Kolaghan's Commands, because they don't do a ton in the matchup unless you've got something like Chalice of the Void. I mean, yeah, you could technically like snipe a draw step or something, but I don't think that's hugely relevant here. I think if we had a good start, we just didn't find our second land drop, which was our problem. Perhaps if we had kept spell pierces, but I still needed to hit land drops to win, so that was kind of one of those don't hit our second land drop and die kind of games. Gurmag. Murderous Cut. It's possible they could bring in something like Relic too, so we don't want to be too reliant on our graveyard. And all our opponent saw was Steam Vents, Delver, and a couple cantrips, so. But the Thought Scour probably gives them enough info to know that we're a Delves type strategy. And they did see Watery Grave, so. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a worse version of Grixis Death Shadow, or so most people would say. I honestly think they're two slightly different decks, so kind of hard to judge them on the merits of the other one. Yeah, we'll keep it. It's not the... What's up, Jesus? How have you been? Am I supposed to get Steam Vents or Watery Grave here? Guess we'll go Steam Vents for the opener. Alright, Thought Scour and Delver. I think we're going to top both of those. Pass. That's always good. Yeah, I don't normally stream this time in the morning, so nice to run into you. It's been a little while. I think I usually catch you like earlier in the morning, don't I? Like 2, 3 a.m. Alright, so now I have a decision to make. So I left that Thought Scour on top, but I think I'm going to go ahead and fetch it away, get the Watery Grave. Because once I'm below 18, my life total just doesn't matter. Cast on their Serum Visions. Collective Brutality and Opt. So leave Opt on top. Yeah. Well, this will allow us to flip the Delver. Please don't tell me you have like Lightning Bolt or something dumb here. Looks like you do. That's annoying. Good old Lightning Bolt. So now I gotta look for like a Delve threat. So annoying. Yep, got your Farseek. So one downside to playing Delver over something like Grixis Death Shadow or is your threats. Yeah, I only have Expeditions because I have I ended up buying. So I think I'm just supposed to. Guess I'll opt main phase, but I'm probably not going to find what I'm looking for. Um, play out another Delver. So we're gonna have Mana Leak down for a turn, which kind of sucks, but yeah, I wasn't happy with Mana Traders for like a week or so. I ended up actually stopping the service for a little bit. It's possible I should have opted again to try to find something like a Gurmag Angler or something. Suppose that would have made sense, Maru. Because I really need a heavier threat than Delver here. That being said, if we get to untap with Delver, once again we should be in okay shape. Mana Leak and Snap Mana Leak can do a lot of work against what they're trying to do. Of course, if they go like Anger of the Gods here, we're going to really get agitated. Thanks, Lee, for the follow. Where's the I? Yeah, Lee. Sweltering Suns. Of course! Our opponent has all the Wipeout Delver tech. Alright, I mean... yeah, I think opponent's on Titan Shift. We didn't see Escape Shift, but we saw Primeval Titan. We did not see it through the breach, so I'm guessing this is... Mana Leak you. Seems like we're not in great shape here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Prime time. This looks like Escape Shift. Looks like they're escape shitting with 3 mana backup. Trying to play around. We still have our island in the deck, yeah. Just making sure. So right now our opponent's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, problem we have is our opponent can snipe most of our threats anyway, just from lands. So we're at the point of the game where we need start with the Mana Leak. Mana Leak, crack your fetch. See, the guy whose deck that I am basing this off of is another streamer, for Tweezy. He's a actual, wow, he just let it get countered. Bizarre. That is very bizarre. Why would you... Whatever. Must have like another escape shift or something. Because they had the mana to pay for Mana Leak. That's why I don't understand what they did there. Spell Pierce. Run on a Snappy. In my hand is not a masterpiece. It's a... Oh yeah, it's the Spell Pierce that's in the graveyard. That's one I picked up. I picked that one up a while ago when I was playing Standard so much. I just like the... So I have no reason to fire off this bolt right now. And our opponent can kill these Snappies anytime they want. See what you got. Another escape shift? Tireless Tracker. Sure. Am I supposed to bolt this stupid Tireless Tracker, or am I supposed to... 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so they've only had 4 mountains. That's why they didn't go and... Yeah, if they draw one more mountain off of this clue, though, we could have some problems. Just trying to figure out if I'm supposed to try to bolt this Tireless Tracker, or am I supposed to... The heck is this? Sure. Alright. Now we're in some trouble. I'm presuming the Valakut goes after one of the Snapcasters. Yeah. It's not anymore, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm just waiting to see what my draw step is anyway. Thought Scour. Thought Scour them. No sense in milling myself anymore. And then I just get a land. Well, I mean, we're pretty well dead here. There's an outside chance we could still backdoor into a win, but if our opponent literally hits anything, we're pretty well boned. I suspect the current builds of Grixis Shadow are better in this matchup, because I think several of them have been running like Disdainful Strokes and the bigger threats. To be fair, most of their deck is brutal for us at this point. See if they go. Alright, well, I mean, at least they're only going after like Snapcaster here. Oh well. So, young Pyromancer, that's gonna save us. So, I'd like to say a good morning to everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Off to an auspicious start against Titan Shift. No, I don't think it was slow roll. I think, because, I mean, to be fair, I have 2 cards in my hand. I could easily have, like, Mana Leak or Remand or something along those lines. So, it wasn't necessarily a slow roll. And they were at, what, 6 there? So, like, Bolt or Bolt Snap Bolt would kill them in that spot. So, fact that our 2 early Delvers got killed kind of got us. One of those early Delvers would have survived. We might have been able to disrupt them enough to win that game. Tommy Fumi. So, we have another one of those wonderful 1-land Delver hands. This is a keep with the cantrips, but once again, like game 1 against Titan Shift, we can just miss and die, so that is something to keep in mind. Copperline Gorge. Freaking Dredge. Well, we're on a roll. I mean, it could be Dredge or it could be Hollow One. Either way, we're probably not favored game 1. I have a few spell bombs on the sideboard, but I don't think that's enough to swing the matchup too terribly much. Nope, they're just straight up Dredge. It's a lot of Faithless Lootings. This is probably Loam. Yep. Let's see, hopefully we'll flip Delver here. So am I supposed to Thought Scour this away or just draw it? And to reveal this card, no. So I think I need to be able to hold up Mana Leak this turn, so for a flashback on Faithless Looting. And if they don't flashback looting, we can always... Alright, so they do Loam again. They hit Conflagrate, which is annoying. Hopefully they just go for like Loam here, or flashback on Faithless Looting. Oh wow, they're going for... Get stinky with it. No, 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 no. Alright, so... Doesn't do a whole lot, but at least we get to Fatal Push Thought Scour. I want to make sure I get my Watery Grave so I don't actually flip it over. Thought Scour myself. We hit a Tassigar. Tassigar is pretty good. No. Unfortunately, Delverer does not want to flip, so... Alright, well... Narcomoeba, Narcomoeba. Otherwise known as Chump Blockers 1 and 2. Alright, here comes Bloodghast. Bloodghast isn't particularly relevant. This Stinky again. So I guess I'm bolting Stinky. Hopefully Delver will flip here. Alright, Mana Leak. I think unfortunately I gotta let this just happen. So. Because I can't afford to Bloodstained Mire and Tarn. So I think I'm interested in the fourth land. So opponent is missing on Amalgam something fierce, unless they've got unless they specifically have like 2 or 3 Amalgams in hand. Feels like they've milled an awful lot to not see an Amalgam. They have 1 Bloodghast in the yard, and they've gone through 2 of their Narcomoebas. And we're getting to the point where Mana Leak's going to be kind of not really worth all that much here shortly. Ironically, this is one of those spots where Remand is actually better, especially against something like Conflagrate. Oh well. Opponent attacks with their Bloodghast. That's all you can really do with it. Nothing says, quite like I think I'm winning this game, as much as Mana Leaking a spell my opponent can cast turn after turn. Opponent goes to 6. This is just dumb. So honestly, I think there is a very good chance our opponent is dead here, depending on what they do. We don't have a blocker for Tassiger. We have access to a Bolt. They're not dredging back Loam, which means they don't have access to another land to play around Mana Leak. So there's a good chance they are dead here. Were they on the play or the draw this game? Alright, they were on the play. So Yeah, I don't care about loam, friend. I can care about the follow-up conflagrate you're going to try to cast, though. See, this is a game Dredge would normally win. To be fair, they haven't hit like their busted start. They didn't. He's taken a lot of lines that have been very control oriented, which may have been the correct line, but we've been able to answer his play each time. And these blood gas just aren't enough pressure. And then Tasker here. And then Snapcaster, Flashback, Lightning Bolt. Opponent concedes. Alright. Well, that was the rough game, but our sideboard doesn't offer us a ton. We get a couple of Nihil Spell Bombs and a Statcaster seems fine, and a couple of Counter Squalls. Trying to think, is there anything else we might want? So, one of the things to consider is our opponent may very well have something like Leyline of the Void to bring in against us. So how do we want to try to mitigate some of that nonsense? Probably can cut a Murderous Cut here. Kolaghan's Command's not at its best, although it is a damage spell, so that is something to consider. Excuse me. Fatal Pushes and stuff aren't great, but we do need to clear out their blockers if we're going to be on the pressure them plan. I think we need to cut one zombie fish in case they have Leyline of the Void. I don't like doing that though because we already cut the Murderous Cut. Not because we cut the Murderous Cut, but because I don't want to weaken my ability to. I guess we can shave a Snapcaster and it's either between a Fatal Push and a Terminate. Guess it's just a Terminate. Terminate's just a fog, but we want mana efficiency more than anything because we need to be able to keep up counter spells against their conflagrates and such. This is one of the few matchups where Remand against flashback spells can be pretty darn backbreaking. But we have to get to the point where we have pressure on the table and all that fun stuff, so. This hand is very land heavy. We have no disruption. We have Serum Visions, but is that enough? So, 1 card, 2 cards. Pretty slow from this Gurmag Angler. I think this is a mulligan, but it's close. This hand seems a little bit better. Don't think I'm in the market for Steam Vents right now. I need actual disruption. Faithless Looting. So if we're able to cold hit one of our spell bombs here, could be in okay shape. Stinky and Blood Crypt. Didn't I cut like a Snapcaster Mage? Sometimes. Go ahead and hit Steam Vents here. Cast Serum Visions. Keep Serum Visions on top. I think this is just a game we don't have. Yeah. Hit a Narcomoeba right away. Presumably, as long as they have a second land, they're in this game. Yep, they have a second land. Alright, so fetch here for Watery Grave. Still looking for spell bombs or other disruption. Is Delver good enough here? I don't. Narcomoeba already in play. We need to either hit a Delve Fatty or a Spell Bomb, so I think I'm going to go ahead and bottom both of these. Though they are both very, very tempting. Fatal Push to the bottom. Draw another Serum Visions. Why would you... Alright, Amalgam. See, if you don't have a third land, I don't like this fetch at all. Okay, they have a third land. Never mind. Alright. They don't currently have any treasures in their graveyard, do they? Being able to counter this would have been pretty good, but we're on the draw, and we're kind of spinning our wheels here. Thug Thug. Didn't they dredge a Stinkweed Imp earlier? Yeah, why wouldn't you discard Stinkweed Imp instead of these 2 thugs? I have no idea. Whatever, opponent. Just gonna get basic island here. Serum Visions. Well, I mean, If our opponent bricks for one more turn, we might be alright. So they brought in Collective Brutality. So is there Loam? No, they have Loam in hand too. So they have multiple abilities to power up their graveyard again. Come on, just go for something dumb like a large conflagrate, please. I think we're supposed to remand this. No, mana leak it, because we want it in the graveyard whenever we torch it. Alright, so whenever you play an instant or sorcery. Alright, so we're not playing an instant or sorcery this turn. So, am I supposed to play out Pyromancer or not here? I don't think so. I think I'm supposed to just play out Bomb. Set it during their draw step. And then we'll have remand for whatever their follow-up is. They dredge Stinky. Take like a cycling land here to hurt us. Beat down by Vicious Narcomoeba. That being said, this Narcomoeba is a real clock given our life total. Alright, deck, I have enough lands now, thank you. Alright, so Delver. Delver pass. No, I have no more effects during a draw step. I think we're supposed to remand this one. You're supposed to remand or mana like this. I think remand. Alright, Tassiger is a card. Hopefully we hit like Counter Squall or something here. Alright, Mana Leak is fine. So play out Polluted Delta. Gonna say there's no way our opponent gives us back Nihil Spellbomb, so I'm not even gonna bother leaving it in the yard. What could they play for 2 mana here that I care about? What a long, grindy matchup. Whew. How's everyone doing this morning? Hope you're enjoying this kind of stressful matchup here. Alright, give them props. They continue their Narcabima beatdown plan. Golgari Thug. So all the opponent succeeded in doing was put it back on the top of their library. Okay. Golgari Thug is not the one you want to be infinitely chump blocking with. Flashback on Faithless Looting. Alright, I mean... I think we need to get, either way, we're going to need to get Snapcaster into play at the end of turn for lethal. Probably a Snapcaster opt. If they don't cast anything, we need to Mana Leak in addition to Spell Pierce. Spell Purse. Keep attacking with your Narcomoeba. Yep, guess it was finally time to play defense. So what are the odds that they have... I don't think they have Lightning Axe. I suspect they would have played it already if they did. So, just going to go ahead and snap opt here. Opponent's just scooping. Alright, I was going to say, if they had Lightning Axe, I thought they would have already broken it off by now. Oh, man. Anybody else feel brain drained after that one? Ugh. Alrighty, I'll be back here in a minute. Need to go get a drink of water. Thanks everyone for stopping in. I'll be back here in a minute. Alright, so that was an interesting match, to say the least. Didn't know we could grind through Dredge. Now, to be fair, they didn't have any of their, excuse me, Dredge didn't have any of their busted, like, 1,000 prize amalgams on turn 2 or 3 draws, so did get a little lucky there. So it's always interesting when you start testing a deck again, and instead of running into good matchups, you actually run into probably 2 of the deck's worst matchups. Like, Dredge is supposed to be able to prey on the fair mid-range decks and outgrind them. I'm pretty sure Grixis Delver qualifies as a fair mid-range deck. And obviously Valakut is just not a good matchup. Reps up against Guard Kun. I think this hand's a little too much delve and not enough cantrip. This hand seems okay. So all we have is interaction. So I think I'm going to go ahead and bottom terminate. Might be incorrect if this ends up being a creature deck, but... Oh, delightful. So anybody else smell a storm deck? Hmm. So now we're in that oddball. So I think we have to do Delver here. But if we didn't draw Delver, I think we'd be in the position where we might actually mill, because they topped one of the cards with Serum Visions. So if I hadn't drawn that Delver, I'm pretty sure that was going to be my play. Hey, Electromancer, putting us to the test. Would like to have that Terminate back now. Sure. So Remand's not going to do a whole lot here. So I think I'm supposed to Thought Scour myself and just Murderous Cut this stupid thing now. Guess I'm leaving in Serum Visions. Since we have another Thought Scour to enable Delve. Alright, I just delved away all fetch lands, just making sure I didn't blow any of my actual mana sources. They have another idiot here. We're probably dead. We dead, opponent? Looking like we might be. Yummy. Lots of gobos. Lots and lots of gobos. Oh, I just punted. Ha ha ha. I just punted. Alright. No sense in attacking right now. I don't think we have anything in our main deck to clean this up, unfortunately. And of course you have another Baral too. That's probably why you were so willing to attack with it. Alright. So we're still pretty dead to these gobos here. There's nothing in our main deck that would let us get out of this situation. Going to 2 here. Just doing this for a little bit of info. Target player discards a card. And alright, I mean, don't even know why you're playing Baral here. Hey, they remember to attack. Alright, so this is a matchup where having surgical extractions over Nihil spell bombs would be much nicer. So get these terminates out of here. Want these spell bombs. Probably want Fatal Push. We want Counter Squalls. We want Collective Brutalities. We want Is It Statcaster. Cards do we not want? Gilligan's Command's kind of medium. We want the bolts and pushes, because we want early interaction for their morons. Young Pyro seems pretty good against the Empty the Warrens plan if we can get it up and rolling. We're on the play, so I want the Delvers. What cards make the least sense then? Maybe shave one snap, since we've got to be interactive but a little bit faster. Guess. Wow. These last cuts are actually pretty tough. Maybe get a Murderous Cut out of here. And shave. Mana Leak. And an Opt. Actually, I probably should have left the Mana Leak in over... What does this hand even do? Counters their first idiot, I guess. Opponent is mulliganing to 6. Or if they're looking for Leyline of the Void, keeps their hand. I was going to laugh if they like play out like Leyline of Sanctity when I'm not even playing discard spells outside of a couple brutalities. I think the main thing we're looking for at this point is a source of pressure. We have some disruption, though counter spells are not at their best in this matchup. Well, there's a source of pressure eventually. Opponent's not giving us anything to counter. Counter Squall. Counter spells are not good in this matchup. It's possible I should have flashed in Snapper there, just to have something to do. Which I think I'm going to do on end step if they don't cast anything here. Because I need to get some type of pressure down. Ambush Viper go. They discard a lightning bolt. Guess to be fair, they can't cast it, so. Probably should have played out Blood Crypt Tap there. Remand. Hey, how many Del Fatties can I draw? Alright, Lightning Bolt's a card. No reason to put that into play on tapped yet. I don't have enough cards in graveyard to leave up counter spells, and still not going to bolt them yet. I still need interaction for one of their creatures if it resolves. Alright. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just go for. So which one actually makes more sense? So Zombie Fish. Guess they both make it a two-turn clock, so I may as well leave up the extra mana. Yeah, that's fun. Sure. Bolt. Alright. So our opponent brought in removal spells for our threats. Look to be their plan. So it probably wants... Huh, huh, huh. I think Young Pyromancer might be worse on the draw. And Delver is worse on the draw. So maybe I shave like 2 Delvers for the Opt and Dispel. Since our opponent is bringing in so much interaction, which is weird. I think I'm supposed to keep this hand, but it is very risky. We had a second land drop? It's okay. We hit the second land drop. So, Watery Grave. Delver go. Sure, I'll flip it with Serum Visions. Go ahead and attack with Aberration here first. Kind of hoping they decide to bolt here. So now we're in that really awkward spot that it's either Brutality or Nihil Spellbomb. If they have Remand, it's either one is awful. So I think it's that and that, because we can use the life total buffer. Plus we want cards in the graveyard for discard and Young Pyromancer. Without a counter spell or a kill spell, we have to go for one of these two lines, neither of which is good. Yeah, especially if they have Remand here. Alright, Desperate Ritual into what? Manamorphose, okay. Gifts Ungiven? Alright. So if we can live through the next turn, we can spellbomb away this graveyard. Decisions, opponent. This is where you Storm players earn your money. Grape Shot, Past in Flames. So opponent has 2 cards in hand. We're gonna get to see. I think we take the Brawl. I think we take the Brawl and the Manamorphose. Then let Brutality resolve and see what they're working with. So currently they can work with 3 mana. Because I'm okay with Pyretic Ritual, Poetic Ritual and Grape Shot. I'm okay with. So it becomes, I think it's the Noxious Revival, isn't it? Just take the Noxious Revival. They're trapped on 3 mana. So they would need to draw exactly... No, even a cost reducer doesn't do it next turn, so we just take the Noxious Revival. Leave them with these 3 cards. Ooh. That's kind of a brutal draw. Okay, sure. So the only interaction we have right now is Spellbomb. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards in graveyard. Guess we go ahead and Thought Scour ourselves. See another Thought Scour. Yeah. Thought Scour, that. Delver. And Pyro, that. And I guess Snap. Give us the most information to work with. Alright, so opponent's got third land. They can get up to 4 mana, which is not enough to guess we'll Serum Visions here. Bolt and Serum Visions. Do the Bolt on top. Play out the Polluted Delta and pass. Guess opponent's hoping for one more draw step here, but they don't have that, so. Alright, well. This was supposed to be a fast league with Delver, but apparently not. How's everyone doing this morning? So, on the comparisons between these two, between this deck and Grixis Death Shadow, which is its best comparison, I don't know, it seems like they have a lot of the same, like, matchup dependency. They're trying to execute a similar strategy, but just differently. So I'm not sure which one's actually better. I mean, obviously Death Shadow has the results. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not the best deck in the format or one of the top 2 or 3 decks in the format. But there is some consideration to playing a deck that doesn't go quite as hard on your life total. But should Death Shadow ever get banned, it looks like Grixis Delver can at least sub in as a decent tempo mid-range deck. I mean, Delver of Secrets doesn't hit anywhere near as hard as Death Shadow, and Snapcaster Mage is still Snapcaster Mage. So, I don't know. What do you guys think from seeing this so far? So we've seen Dredge, we've seen Valakut, and we've seen Storm now. So I guess a fair deck would be an interesting matchup. Might like to test against blue-white. I suspect that would be a close matchup. We might be a little better equipped than Grixis Shadow. Alright. Wish our opponent good luck. Hey, great Hearthstone hand. Mulligan. Snapperoonie. So turn 1, Thought Scour. Do we want Snap? Guessing the answer to that is yes. Huh. Okay. Basic Swamp Inquisition. Why are my pox warning bells going off? Probably gonna lose either Thought Scour or Spell Pierce here. Alright, looks like Spell Pierce is the take. Yeah, like I said, my pox warning bells are going off here. Yep, definitely pox. There probably goes Tassiger or Thought Scour. We hit Bolt and Pluto Delta. Looks like we're going to be in a grind fest here. Wrench Mind. Mana Leak. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Need to get Blood Crypt here. So what we gonna do is playing out Young Pyromancer, playing out Gurmag Angler. Actually, okay. So what card do we want to leave in our graveyard? I think the answer is Spell Pierce. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That way, if they don't discard spell us, we will have a spell to play to pair with Young Pyromancer. Card we're trying to play around here is Smallpox. So, which, I mean, our opponent can have one of 1,000 other cards, but okay. You have Smallpox to boot. Alright. Yep, I don't think we're racing that. May as well keep that in hand. Yep, Inquisition's gonna miss. Alright, pass to our opponent. Yep, Leon is just miserable here. That's enough of this nonsense. I knew I said I wanted to play up against a fair deck, but I didn't know if Pox was the deck I was talking about. Alright, so... Painful Truths. Counter Squalls. What other cards make sense here? There's a good chance they'll have Leyline of the Void post-board, so we can't rely on our Delve Fatties to really win the game. Bring in the Desolate Lighthouse, bring in the Spell Bombs, and cut a... maybe shave a fetch land. Yeah, I was trying to play around Smallpox with that line, and even they found a way around it, so... Actually, I should have gone on the draw this game, so... It's a lesson from Tom Ross. Go ahead and keep... Mulligans to 6, keeps their hand, and scries to the bottom. Hey, turn 1 discard spell. Fun, fun time for everyone. Alright. If your opponent here, what do you take? Snapcaster Mage. Alright. I almost F6 through the turn. Bolt. Delver. Okay, we draw a Bolt anyway. So I think I gotta hold up Mana Leak this turn. Because there's a decent chance they could have something like Smallpox or Wrench Mind here. Raven's Crime. Oh, you have all the fun hits, opponent, don't you? Go ahead and discard. Delver. Counter Squall is not a bad one. They just might go for the Ravens crying us out of the game plan. Gotta say, is this an end step funeral charm? Smallpox. Alright. Can't ever afford to tap out to play a threat. Maybe I should have kept the Delver. Alright. Snapper at least gives us something to play at end step, start pressuring them. Sure. The sad part is I joked about end step funeral charm, but turns out it might actually have been a thing. What is our opponent sitting on, though? I guess Liliana is the only thing I can think of here. Wrench Mind. Discard Pyromancer and a Mana Leak. Discard. Guess it's Thought Scour at this point. Alright, that at least gives us access to another land. That's Young Pyromancer, Delver, Opt, Snapcaster, and Bolt, I guess. Smallpox here is going to suck. Leyline of the Void. Don't think at this point I care about that card. Alright, just enough in our graveyard. Hopefully they don't go like smallpox. Alright, sure. Sure. Alright, Painful Truce is not a bad one here. Do I actually have to fetch here? I think I do. Go get our island, mountain, swamp, play out Painful Truce. Just end this game. Alright, at least we got one game from Pox. So, we know Leyline of the Void is a thing. Is there anything we can do to play around that better? No, I don't think, outside of boarding out more of our delve threats, maybe we should bring back in the Tarn. But what are we cutting in its place? Maybe a Remand, because they're not particularly great on the draw in this matchup. Dispel. So Dispel hits Funeral Charm and Fatal Push. I think that's a little too situational, and they didn't show us any of the weird sideboard cards that Tom Ross had in his build of the deck, like the 3/1 creature that draws cards. So am I supposed to keep this hand on principle? Sadly, I think the answer is yes. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a ley line here. Nope. Okay. Serum Visions, Polluted Delta, or Serum Visions, Polluted Delta. I think losing the land was the most annoying part of that exchange. Spell Bomb. I think we're in the market for Angler. I don't think we're in the market for that. So the only reason I brought in the Spell Bombs was just a cantrip on board. That's the only reason it's in the deck right now. And in a weird way it gets around Wrenchmind. Alright, Big Fishy. We could play Big Fishy, but we have no way to protect it right now. So we're just gonna Visions. Didn't we bottom bolt? This is why I hate you sometimes, Magic Online. Is Remand good enough here? I think it is. It cantrips. Good enough. Okay. What you got, opponent? Smallpox. So now the opponent has a one-turn window to cause us problems. Alright, Delver's not a horrible card here. I think I'm supposed to play out Delver. Is that a Liliana in their hand then? Take a point of damage, I don't particularly care here. Counter Squall? Absolutely, I will show you that card. Alright, opponents at a virtual 1. They haven't shown us anything we care about so far. Oh, wow. That's a spicy meatball. So how's everyone doing today? At least you're getting your money's worth in terms of seeing the ability of Grixis Delver to actually compete against decks. I don't think we've had a single, other than the massacre by Valakut, I don't think we've had a single, like, non-grindy affair. Deck definitely has the ability to grind against decks and find what it's looking for, so that's pretty cool. The man that has been streaming this deck of late, for Tweezy, said that he's had a... What's up, the Bugga Man? So the guy that I got most of this list off of, who's been streaming it lately, said he's like 5 or 6-0 against Shadow. So... yeah, Delver... I think people were too quick to give up on Delver, just because Grixis Shadow is... yeah, I figured... well, most Delver strategies, and like even Shadow, Valakut isn't a great matchup. So that doesn't surprise me. The decks share a lot of the same characteristics in terms of what they're trying to do. They just go about the game plans differently. Sand's a keep, but it's on the lower end of what I would say is... oh dear. Are we playing good old Jund? So what does our opponent take here? Remand or opt? Alright. So it looks like we're up against good old-fashioned Junday. Steam Vents. Don't like letting our opponent know what we drew, but at the same time, Serum Visions, Spell Purse, and Thought Scour. I think we're in the market for both these cards right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass. Oh dear. They're not what we thought they were. Oh, they're Mardu. Okay. This game one probably isn't going to be very good for us, but oh well. So the game plan right now, if we don't have to spell pierce like a Lingering Souls flashback here, is Young Pyromancer. Nope. I can't allow that to resolve. So we get Steam Vents. Cannot allow this to resolve. That's too much power on the board. Well, I guess I didn't want black mana anyway. I mean, yes, I know I have black mana, but I'm just talking about I don't want, Alright. Young Pyromancer, go! Swamp to the bottom. Snapcaster to the top. This is actually one of the decks that I've wanted to see in action more than I have, so. Disgusting. Alright, fair enough. So the man, what other matchups are bad for... Have you played any rendition of... Yeah. You played any renditions of, like, Grixis Shadow? To know, like, the differences between the decks? Because I know they're very, very close in terms of, like, what they're trying to execute. Man, we've done a lot of spinning our wheels, and yet we're already down cards. Gonna say, for some reason I don't think Snapcaster beats are gonna get there. But we can at least try, right? Why did it have to be Forked Bolt? Forked Bolt. Go get Blood Crypt tapped. Play out Serum Visions. So K Command's at least gonna let us grind. Sure. Nothing I can do about that. I mean, I could try to Thought Scour, hit a counterspell, but it's just simply not worth it. Discards Terminate and Faithless Looting. Sure. We don't particularly care about either cards in our hand right now. So we hit a Spell Pierce, we milled over a Swamp and a Kullgun's Command. Alright, we might be able to grind this game out. Sure. Bolt to the face. Yeah, I think we have to let that resolve. I think he's trying to get down for Bedlam Reveler. Decisions, opponent. Looks like it's gonna be a long grind. Sit back, enjoy the show. Alright. Alright. Do we have anything in our graveyard to currently... I mean, I could snap Remand here, but does that just... Decisions... So... I think we're going to snap Remand here. What do we have? We have Remand, Serum Visions, Bolt. Just going to go ahead and Remand here. This just buys us a turn. Not a lot, but it buys us a turn. And we might find what we were looking for. Tasker's not bad here. Bloodstained Mire doesn't really do us a whole lot of favors. Because I really don't want to go to 9. So we'll just play out. So we're getting rid of Swamp. And I can't even get Swamp because it's already in the graveyard. Opt, Scalding Tarn, Pyromancer, that. That Reveler is going to be pretty brutal here. Alright, Swift Spear. Yep, just trying to clear your hand before you Reveler. Yep. So what are you discarding? Lingering Souls and Kolaghan's Command. How many cards in hand? They had, at no point would K-Command have taken their cards, because they had either 2 or 3 cards in hand the whole time. So K-Command wasn't getting Reveler. Now I gotta decide if I'm definitely getting back Snapcast, or am I making them discard, or am I killing Swift Spear? I think... Okay, return target creature. That. Make them discard a card. Black. Because there's a decent chance they have like a 1-mana spell here, and I don't want to... Yeah, I was keeping an eye on their hand size. They had 2 to 3 cards in hand, so Kolaghan's Command wasn't getting the card that we want to get. Let's put it that way. We got a Faithless Looting. Alright, Terminate makes this a little easier. Pass to them. Going to 7. Alright, I was like, do you have like Path here or something? I don't think their lists play Path though. So, but I really have to watch time and close out this game. If they don't have an answer to Tasigur here, they're just dead. Unfortunately... Oh, and I have no lands left to fetch. Wonderful. And they have a Reveler in hand. Bolt or Snapcaster. Bottom Delver. And then we hit another useless fetch land. Alright. All this grinding and now I may well have lost. Yep. It was a punt, but only so far as that I didn't have another land to fetch. Otherwise, the line I took was perfectly fine. But I should have... Oh, wow. Should have played the Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, that was the punt. Yeah. Yep. Did not play the Snapcaster Mage. That was the punt. You're right. You're right. You're right. So if I Tasker here, what am I getting back? Spell Pierce? I don't think that's worth it. Opponent should probably Lingering Souls here. Be the best. Looks like they're not going to play anything. I'll go ahead and Tasker, force them to decide what the heck they want to put into play. Guess they could technically kill Tasker and I'll get Gurmag Angler and Delver. They might give me back Delver. Probably going to be Delver or Spell Pierce. Thought Scour. Alright. I know it's a risk milling over Lingering Souls, but I don't want to risk actually drawing cards that could... I guess it's just best to stay back right now. I've got nothing, opponent. Punt, punt, punt. Lightning Helix. The problem is, though, if he plays two spells, like these helixes would be going to the face, and Reveler would get to eat Tasigur. Although, to be fair, if he was pulling these spells to my face, I'd be dead right here. But as it is, I think we're pretty well... boned anyway. Why? Oh, fetching to play Lingering Souls. I don't think there's anything we can draw here. Nope. Alright. No, there would be no trading because Reveler is a 3/4, so if he gets big enough to kill Tasigur, then we're just dead. Because he would have to get up to a 5/6 to kill, and then we're just dead on a crackback. That's why I couldn't attack there. I had to try to buy one more turn. Hope he didn't have something like Lightning Helix to pull him out of range. But as Beach C2 said, I had lethal. I just did not play Snapcaster Mage. Alright, so we want Static Caster. This is a grindy matchup, but they've got a lot of burn, so... Alright, we want the Dispel. Spell Bombs are decent in this matchup. I think he had 3 mana open there. So the problem is that he could kill... The problem is that he couldn't likely kill Tasigur, but he could block, play Lightning Helix. Actually, at least one of those Lightning Helixes was in his hand. So even if he aims it at my face, then his Reveler is checking my Tasigur, and then he just has a free line of attack to kill me. So attacking, I don't believe, was right there. We want these counter squalls. Probably want Collective Brutality. What cards do we not want? Now this is kind of... I think Delvers are kind of garbage in this matchup. Probably... Probably shave the 2 ops, and then... I gotta make a couple more cuts here. Probably like a fatal push. Just cut the fatal pushes. We've got quite a few answers to their smaller guys, and we need to have answers to the Bedlam Revelers. So push might be the weakest card outside of the Delvers themselves. Delvers are bad in matchups where there's a lot of removal spells. Well, this hand's strictly awful. It's a grindy matchup. I think we'll just go ahead and keep it, play out the spell bomb, and then they'll have nothing. If they have Inquisition on 1, they'll have nothing to hit. Like I said, it's not a great keep, but Leyline in the Void makes it that much worse. Because this is effectively a mulligan. Alright. Guess we're going to be hard casting our Taskers for 6 mana. Faithless Looting? Nope, Swift Spear. Alright. Bolt Pass. Need to make sure we're on a move this whole game. Way if there is a game 3, we've got time to think. It's kind of ironic because Swift Spear is only like a 2 of or 3 of in their deck. I don't think they actually play the full 4 of Swift Spears. Grab Blood Crypt here. Actually, I should have grabbed Swamp. Yep, I should have grabbed Swamp in case he has Blood Moon in his sideboard. Especially if he grabbed... Okay, so he's not grabbing Basic Mountain here. So this Spell Bomb may grab us a lot of time against his Revelers. Yes, go ahead and fetch here. This is Blood Moon, it's going to be devastating. Yep, should have fetched Swamp. Okay, why did... Oh, because it didn't go to the graveyard. Alright, fair enough. Nope. Bottom that. Bottom the Pierce. No, I punted not fetching basic Swamp. See, if I'd fetched basic swamp, then I can at least play magic this game. And I even sat here and talked about how if he has Blood Moon, we're kind of screwed here. At least he doesn't seem to have too much to punish us here. Alright, I mean, Bolt's a card. Thought Scour them. The chance we flip over Lingering Souls. Leyline of the Void and Terminate. We just can't afford to flip over our swamp. If we flip over our swamp, we have no chance to win this game. So I'm risking putting Lingering Souls into his bin just to hit our swamp. There's not much I can do about it. Scalding Tarn. Alright. This is the way this league ends. I believe the correct sound effect will be womp womp womp. Sure. Does he do something like Fatal Push just to get a token? Nope. Alright. Moving on. So I have no reason to play out Young Pyromancer here. I mean, I guess it keeps him from having a discard spell, but I suspect... Oh, daddy. We might have a game. Yeah, well, we'll see if you have a answer to this. Dreadbore? Yep. Collective B. I'll play out Pyromancer. Three modes. Oh, never mind. Two modes, dum-dum. Target opponent, target opponent. See what you got over there. Okay, at least we get a token off this. Probably sitting on like Bedlam Reveler, Bedlam Reveler. Okay. So, Fatal Push. And two cards he can't cast. Well, that sucks. Aye. To be fair, I suppose one good top deck to deserve another, and we draw Spell Pierce. Yeah, that's a card. Oh well. Yep. You were saying? uh... oh. Well, I mean, we drew terminate, but which spell do we terminate here? I mean, Young Pyromancer is beating us. Bedlam Reveler is too big for us to handle. Oh. Now it's kind of working. If this is kind of work. GG. Oh, wow. Hmm. Hmm. Oh. I don't even know what we could have drawn here. And Magic Online's not going to let us do anything anyway. Alright, so outside of my punt there in game 1 against Reveler, which should have given us a chance to play a third game, and not fetching Swamp and then realizing it a split second later, I think the deck's pretty solid. It, obviously, I mean, it can grind. We just played 2 grindy mid-range decks and felt like we were in it right up until our opponent went Reveler into a lot of freaking tokens. But, deck seems fine. I don't know if it's better than Grixis Shadow. I think it's playable and decent. So should anything ever happen to Grixis Shadow, this could be a decent fallback deck. I don't know. Anyone have any thoughts? Besides, deck's solid. I mean, 3-2, we felt like we were in every matchup. Felt like every matchup was close, other than Valakut. And beyond that, it was pretty sweet. It's nice to play forgotten decks and see them do well. And we actually played against, even for a friendly league, we played against a lot of Tier 2, Tier 3 strategies. So, and ironically, we didn't even play against any decks that this deck is particularly great against, and still managed the 3-2. Could easily have been 4-1 if I hadn't punted. Yep. I don't really have much to add to it. I mean, it's a Snapcaster Mage Kolaghan's command deck. We all know how good that is in Grixis Control and Grixis Death Shadow. Delvers are hit or miss. They're good pressure when they flip, but they're so easy to kill. I mean, I guess you can say the same thing about Death Shadow to a certain point, but they has a bigger butt, so things like Bolt doesn't always kill it. But Delver, you know, Bolt kills it, Fatal Push kills it. But if they don't have it, 3-2 on turn 2 is pretty fast clock. So, beyond that, I think the main deck, pretty solid configuration. We didn't have too many problems casting our Delve spells outside of Graveyard Hate. So I think 5 Graveyard spells fine. For Tweezy only had 4. So I think you can get away with a 5th Delve spell. I know Caleb Durward and his updated list after the Gataxian Pro brand was still running 5 Delve spells. That was before Opt and Fatal Push were printed, so I think it's fine. Sideboard's always in motion. You know, you gotta decide what you want to beat and just pick cards. I tried to have like a middle of the road sideboard with cards for like every conceivable-ish matchup, understanding that I'm probably losing to Tron and Valakut. So, beyond that, I think the deck was fine. We'll probably play it again sometime, maybe switch up the sideboard a little bit, see if we can improve some of our bad matchups. So, I think that's all I'm going to stream for this morning. I want to thank everybody for hanging out. If you like what you saw, feel free to hit that follow button here on the channel. I've played a lot of standard modern content over the months. I have a YouTube page, link is down below the channel, so feel free to check that out. Like I said, I've played a lot of standard modern decks over there. So, thanks for hanging out with me this morning, and hope to catch everyone again later. This is Dusk for MTGO Tavern here on Twitch, and Dusk Till Dawn Gaming on YouTube. See ya!